welcome back to the LEC. Ahead of Koi versus BDS, I've got with me Striker, head coach from BDS. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Now, to start this off, everyone is wondering the same thing. What made BDS successful over in Spring Split?
Well, I think it's a combination of things, but for sure the biggest one is how our players performed and worked. I think we are one of the teams that works the hardest. If you think of the hours that we put in, I think G2 is also up there. And yeah, I mean, the players were grinding solo queue every day, a lot of scrims as well, reviews, individual coaching. So it was just, hard work. And overall, I think we had a good momentum also for playoff, not dropping a single game until finals. So I think we were really confident. And yeah, we kind of had one style that we did really well. So I think it helps as well.
And it really showed when Champions Queue also came out. BDS had the highest games out of any other team. Now, talking about how well you did, guys, all the way up to the finals, you were literally one game away from taking BDS to MSI. Have you learned anything from that best of 5?
Yeah, I think we learned a lot, especially on ourselves, right? And what we can improve going forward. I think we kind of lacked adaptability, and this is on us as staff in this part. But on the performance part from players, I think there was kind of a mental block for some of them, and I think you have to go through some of these things to overcome them in the future. So all in all, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for their development, and we'll see if we use this well in the summer.
Well, having all these learnings, of course, how do you think your team compares now to all the other teams over in Summer Split?
I think the meta is really different, right? So it's hard to say because it's still early. Right now, I feel like everything is kind of reset. There was a lot of changes. I think that the teams overall got better on paper, roster-wise. And I mean, we'll have to see after a few weeks, I guess. We don't try to think that we are the team, like second team or whatever from Spring. We just watch what we do every day in Scrim, and we just look at ourselves with our current result, our current form.
And really quickly, who do you think is your biggest rival currently in the league?
It's hard to say. I think there's many good teams. I think obviously G2 super good. Malrang still a super good team, even after what they did at MSI. Vitality can be really good as well, I think. Even Fnatic looks really insane right now. So
if you have to say one team?
I'll say Mad because of finals.
Mad, okay, fair enough. Thank you very much, Striker. Drakos, over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Trouble. Ooh.
What is this?
Oh, what is this? Oh. They got the sake. They got the koi. Wow. Koi, shaking in their boots. I think it is safe to say after that one. Although it did look poorly prepared. That is the only time at a sushi restaurant I've just seen them serve whole fish.
Yeah. It does look like the attempt that I saw at like Sushi in The Simpsons, where they just give them the full blowfish, and it's like, eat this one tiny little part in here.
Or you die.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Can BDS survive Koi? Can they eat the correct part of the poisonous? This metaphor's going too far. We're moments away from picks and bans. It's time to get into it. See who can come out on top, see what picks they have to show us. You heard it from Striker. Brand new meta. Let's see what they've got in store for us. Tension. In the LCK and LPL, they cheer teams. Here, we have a singular focus that unites all people.
I do feel like, as our resident rap expert, you need to take this as a sample and put it into a song.
I'll talk production. Give me the crowd mic feed. Work it in. Next rap battle. Ban Yumi. For now, Lucian, LeBlanc, Maokai, Vi. You can see Labrov, he hears it, he's debating.
Yeah, I mean, still Milio, the Yuumi, there's still a lot of picks that are going to be up and available here, even the K'Sante, Neeko. So I think at least one of these three, the Milio, the Yuumi, or the Neeko, going to make it through the ban phase. We just have to see exactly what the plan is here. For BDS, I know for Nuke as well, one of the big question marks we had coming into this was looking at, like, how is he going to fit into this new meta? How is he going to try and adapt? And I don't think he had the best of performances on the Annie yesterday, so we'll have to see. But Jace and the Yuumi going to be taken off the board. So Milio priority, Neeko priority, what's it going to be?
And I'm so sorry, Dagda. I have the attention span of a goldfish, so if they just keep saying things as a group, I will never hear what you said. In this
That is
case,
fair. That is fair.
I did my best. I listened. Milio's up and available. Yuumi's banned. A lot of premier options on the table. Neeko, you heard it from Niski. Difficult to execute. Yeah, there's a lot of tricks it can bring to the table. A lot of players can get caught off guard, but BDS, they're going to try their hand at it. Will it be Nuke picking it up and piloting? We'll have to see. But it gives an easy Milio angle to the opposite side. And what is there going to be their pairing option here? Aphelios, I mean, pretty easy option. Definitely not Comp's most played champion thus far this season or this year.
I think it's just such a sick combo, though. Aphelios, hey, I want to get sped up into the fights. Cool, we got that movement speed. We want extra range. Cool, we got that as well. And then you've just got, hey, you get knocked up, or well, not knocked up, but you get caught out in this team fight. Great, we've got a heal, we got that cleanse, we got everything that you need to. But on the opposite side is going to be everyone's new favorite, the Zeri, going to be taken. No cat available for the Zeri, though, will be the Lulu. Still an incredibly strong team fighting tool, and something that is going to be very strong alongside the hands of this Neeko.
Zeri Lulu, an all-time classic. So bot lane, at least, we kind of know what to expect here in this game. Koi now debating what they want to respond to the Neeko with in the mid lane. Can be a little bit tricky, but of course, the Annie, the option, try to match some of that burst damage. A little bit less of a creative champion. I feel like they're on exact opposite ends of the scale. You know exactly what Annie's going to do all the time forever. Since the league started, you know. They added a shield to the bear gets angry when she dies. Otherwise, exactly the same. Neeko, on the other hand, big changes. See if we get more creativity coming in. But now as we enter the second ban phase, it's the Nocturne taken off the board. And based on what we saw in the previous game, I think that Nocturne Neeko is a solid combo. Makes those flanks much more viable.
Yeah, and I think that's the calling here, just try and remove that, obviously. But I think on the opposite side for BDS, I'd actually be looking at banning things away like the Wukong, these kind of things, because honestly, with the setup you have, an Annie Wukong, incredibly terrifying coming through from the mid jungle. Great setup for the team fights as well. And then you just get the follow-up for the Annie after the Wukong goes to the engage. So I think you've definitely got a lot to be worried about here, but looks like jungle not going to be high on the priority for either sides, as they're still looking at this top side, trying to make sure they're all good. And somehow K'Sante's managed to slip on through despite Renekton and Gnar being taken away.
It's kind of crazy to me. Again, in the previous game and in most games, K'Sante looks incredibly oppressive, but instead the focus is on limiting Szygenda's more dominant laning picks, I guess it's safe to say, if you wanted to categorize both the Ken and the Gnar. So now Koi, what is the option going to be? Could always go back to the J4. Malrang Classic. I personally love to see it. But I imagine we'll see a high prio early gank jungler with the setup you have from the Annie. At least in a champion that's been hit with the nerf bed.
Yeah, there it is. The Wukong going to come on through. Incredibly strong, works really well. But I am surprised to see the Kennen ban. Like, Kennen was not a champion I expect to see, like, not just at all in 13-11. He got hit with the nerves, hasn't got the best of matchups in that top side. So really surprised to see it. But I do like that Koi have kind of taken a moment to go, look, we just want to know what Adam's playing. He's gone towards things like the Scion a lot back in spring, still incredibly viable, especially when you're looking at the Lulu and Zeri kind of being piloted behind it. But we'll have to see exactly, is it actually going to be the Olaf? Now, that could still go into the jungle for Sheo, but I'd imagine that he's going to be the Olaf going into the top side for Adam.
And a classic and an excellent pairing alongside the Lulu. And now coming through with the Gragas as well. I really like the composition that BDS are putting together, but this raises the question, who's taking Neeko?
I mean, who's taking Neeko? Who's taking, like, literally the Olaf, the Gragas, and can basically just put flex everywhere. So, I mean, good call from BDS, right? Keep all those flexes open, but you imagine exactly, K'Sante is still up and available. It's disgusting at the moment. And when I look across at Koi, I just straight up raw power picks. It feels like they've gotten so much of what they want. The Olaf will be a good answer into the K'Sante, though. We've seen that quite a lot. And Adam especially has been someone who's been able to pilot that to success. So I think we'll be looking at Adam trying to get control over that top side and hoping then that BDS can try and buy space through that top side trio to then wait for this area to come online with 3 items, the 3000 HP, zoomies and heals and shields and all that good thing that is just absolutely disgusting.
Classic just Zeri things. Of course, BDS feeling a little bit magic damage heavy overall. Koi composition, you highlighted a lot of very strong power picks. I think much simpler execution when it comes to the fight. BDS, a lot of tools certainly, but we're going to have to see how they use them And ready to see, honestly, what Adam could do on this Olaf, kind of preemptively counter-picking the most obvious option on the opposite side, which was the K'Sante. Can he be a big difference maker here? Because we've seen, as you go later in the game, the K'Sante, a big terror. And based on how strong Milio Aphelios has been, I don't even know if Fed Olaf is enough. Very ready to be wrong, but those two champions together do just look incredibly impressive.
Yeah, it's so difficult to try and judge because, again, you do have to chase down potential, but the extra range, the speed ups, the shields, the heals, everything that Milio offers, he's just so disgusting. Won't be able to use that knockback, but I don't know if it really matters when you enter that meat grinder of the Aphelios. So at the moment, again, I like what Koya brings to the table. It feels like you've got a very easy to execute. You've got strong mid jungle, the ability to play for picks, which is something that Koya has been so strong at. We're going to have to see as we come up here against BDS what Koya are able to bring to the table.
The audience determined to cheer together, united as one in their ban Yuumi and TSM iconic League of Legends chants.
Brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah, just great job,
So
guys.
beautiful.
Your introduction to League of Legends cheering class, you're all acing it. We just need to get Rama out here to get like a We Are EU or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Amia. We gotta figure that one out.
What's the Pantheon one?
That's the We Are. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Minions have spawned.
We're in an interesting position here, Dagda, because again we get a Neeko game. But I feel like as more and more people play Neeko, Neeko's bag of tricks becomes less and less effective. Because I don't think, and there's a chance always, but I don't think that Larssen is going to fall for the same all-in that Miski did in our previous game. I think you've kind of shown that one to the world. No one will suspect anymore that when you turn into a melee minion, it's just for funsies.
But like, you well knew that was caps. Like, there was no doubt that was caps.
Yeah, but maybe you forgot he could channel his ulti without revealing it to you, and you thought he was just BMing you.
I mean, maybe. That is fair, but it does feel like the thing is, you can see Neeko do her thing, but you never really know what Neeko's up to, so we'll have to see if Nuke can try and bring it. But I'm excited to see Nuke again trying to, like, adjust into the new patch, because one of the big criticisms he had last split was that he wasn't springing a lot, but here...
Yeah, and you heard it from Striker, adaptability. That's Malrang walking in, taking away this buff. This hurts for Sheo. Now just following up here and can just start to contest Sheo. I don't really think there's a lot you can do with red buff ticking. Has to throw down the cask and just walk away. That sucks. This Gragas is clear, so far behind now.
Especially if he loses blue buff as well. Like, you use a lot of mana as Gragas trying to make that work, and Malrang's just going to be an absolute pain here.
Malrang continuing in. Autoing, can he walk between the towers? I think he's too thick. I think the champion model's too big. Not gonna do it. Okay, so Sheo gets a brief respite. Gets to go down, continue clearing his camps. We'll give up a buff. We'll see if he's able to steal away Malrang's blue buff. This is still gonna take a decent amount of time. And on the bottom side, pressure initially was in favor of Crownie and Labrov, but it has balanced out now as Comp and Advienne get a level under their belts.
And that's why I want to see if Sheo right now can actually just immediately start to move over towards this blue buff on the enemy side. You can see with the pathing that the Wukong has at the moment, he'll take blue and try and path across mid. Probably go for a quick transitional gank here, and then try and take the blue and deny both those buffs away from the Gragas.
Nuke potentially in trouble. Malrang. Where's the root gonna go? Nuke trying to body block with the clone, it looks like. Just stop any potential follow-up, so... Nice, he's able to walk away. There doesn't really have to burn much of anything. Does spot that Malrang is moving down to the bottom side of the map as well. So just a bit of information given up there and a bit of time spent. But Nuke keeping the push going. And that's kind of one of the most obnoxious things I feel like about Neeko. Other than turning into random objects prop hunt style, it's just the incredible amount of wave clear this champion has.
Yeah, it's not really a case of Malrang like trying to get much out of that mid lane play though. He's, as you can see, just wanted to get onto the bot side. Would love to try and get push in mid, but actually might just go for a repeat gank here.
50 seconds. Nuke has to be careful here. Larssen, CC up and available, turns invisible, though, denies. That's the downside of the anti-point and click. You can't just skill shot it out and rely on hitting your target. Not that it would work, because there'd be a clone there to block it. So Nuke, good use of the defensive capabilities of Neeko. And Malrang spending a lot of time to do that. The jungler's now evened up. There are less camps on the map for Sheo to take, but he can look to contest this Scuttle Crab. coming in with a red buff as well. Has to feel pretty good about this matchup.
I was gonna say, I'm not the biggest fan of the way Malrang's played this. I think you had opportunities to like, hey, look, I've gotten the bot side scuttle, let me clear out my entire bot side, I get this big advantage. But instead, he tries to move back up towards the top side, but you can already see exactly where the Olaf has gone to. He's stealing away the Krugs that Malrang had on that top end. So you don't actually have pressure on top to try and go for the scuttle crab. So Malrang ended up giving across the advantage that he'd already picked up. Now you've actually got Sheo who's trying to push in and see if he can get some pressure for himself as well. And when you have the Olaf who could immediately move across, you've got to be so careful here as Malrang.
Yeah, ultimately just not super effective with the advantage that Malrang was able to find early on. Things have now evened out. The good news is it's an advantage that he could afford to give up. It just kind of balanced the scales rather than costing him too much. Nuke now on the top side. Are they going to cancel the back here? They are. Malrang's still waiting in the area. Do they have enough burst to shred through Szygenda? Can they at least get a flash or anything else for now? Just shadowing, just putting down pressure. Annie gonna get back to mid lane first, however, unless Nuke wants to commit the TP. So it should just be a TP advantage to the side of Larssen.
Again, though, what should it? Ooh, actually, Szygenda.
Adam running forward. He just ticked over to 6, forcing the flash out from Szygenda, keeping his flash up and available. So overall, relatively positive trade as long as he can get back to lane in time.
And that's actually pretty big, especially because Adam, as you can talk about, like resets here, but actually managed to pull the wave as well. So it's going to slowly push into him on this top side, unless there's some sort of weird thing with the minion aggro. But that should give the opportunity with Sheo on this top side to actually look for potential plays. Szygenda starts to push this wave in. We'll have to see, though, he hasn't gone for a reset yet. So I think Sheo might need to do that before he makes any sort of play here. But if Adam can keep control of that wave just outside of his tower, that could be an easy gank for Sheo. And one of the big things I wanted to talk about yesterday for Sheo was he's been so good in Spring at finding those opportunities to affect the lanes, like track the enemy jungle, but I think he kind of missed a couple of opportunities yesterday to really get involved in the lanes, and that's one of the big things I want to see from him today, is actually getting into these lanes and affecting them rather than just kind of letting them operate on their own, because that gives moments for Malrang to try and turn the tide in favor of Koi.
And you have excellent follow-up CC from the Neeko. The Olaf, no real follow-up CC, but obviously has a ton of chase potential, as we see a bit of just damage thrown down here. This is the Annie Classic. You saw it at MSI. First strike is up, throw the bear down, get a bit of money, get a bit of pressure in the lane as well. So Larssen just trying to get the push here. And this is, I think, very solid into the Neeko because it just stops her from being annoying, stops her from roaming around the map, turning into plants, doing whatever she wants to do. She just has to farm now, so keeps the game state much more in your control.
And we see it a lot usually when you are trying to look for the dragon, and that's what you can see Malrang attempting to do there. Just half out your mid laner. Cool, let's just wander over. But because Nuke had opted in towards the heal as well, he's going to be able to actually come in with relatively healthy, even have the pots there. So BDS are like, cool, now your mid laner has no ultimate. Let's just try and get pressure mid on our own and see if we can keep going with that oppressive nature that Neeko's had in just keeping Annie shoved in consistently.
Yep. Labrov starting this objective up. Meanwhile, Comp and Advienne just catching waves into the tower. Malrang on the top side, spotted on vision, it looks like. So BDS know that they're safe to just take this one, burn it down quickly so Sheo can just keep clearing through his jungle. So an advantage over to the side of BDS. Very quiet game, I gotta say. Yesterday, GTBDS, we saw BDS much faster early game, much more explosive lanes. And Koi also off to a pretty aggressive start early on. It was only in that late game where they got caught out in the enemy jungle where the game really fell away from them. So both teams a bit more tempered, it feels like, here in day 2.
It does feel, though, like we're still getting the classics of both these squads, right? Even when you look back at yesterday, BDS, it was all about the dragons. For Koi, it was a case of, well, Malrang's still going to do these funky gank paths, but she's actually looking for the mid lane.
That's the onslaught. Warm hugs for a bit of extra movement speed. Now Sheo coming over the wall. Ooh, clean flash out to safety. Coming in from Comp. Anticipating the play there, Sheo. Spotted out on that little bit of vision. Denies any potential body slam flash play from the Gragas. It gives Malrang an opportunity to start up his Herald.
Yeah, and this is where I think the style that we see from BDS is coming back to bite them a little bit is, hey, we're going to have this heavy focus on bot lane, but unfortunately we haven't really been able to get much in the way of advantages in bot lane in Game 1 and Game 2 over the weekend, and it's given opportunities for the likes of G2 and now Koi to get these early Rift Heralds, put them in bot lane, and when these early stages of this game has become so much more about how the lanes interact with each other, how can you try and punish these small advantages, having just that massive cash injection that a Rift Herald allows you can do so much work for the enemy bot lanes against BDS.
Certainly can. Interesting position on the map now, Dagda. Herald traded for Dragon. Malrang, it looks like just wants to use it topside potentially. Try to make a big difference in this matchup as again the ulti coming out here. Fake Neeko will escape, but real Neeko taking the full brunt of that damage. Huh. Dagda.
Yeah.
You cast a lot of LPO. Mm-hmm. You have to be good about filling. What was your go-to fill topic? Because look, I'm not going to lie to you, man.
Yeah.
No one's hitting each other.
That is fair. I mean, oftentimes
Except for
it'll be
Larssen.
like...
Larsen's throwing a bear down, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's doing his best that he can to just toss the tibbers, but I mean, the big one was kind of like, hey, well, what have you been up to? Like, you've been playing a lot of Diablo. You've been introducing me to Magic the Gathering.
I have.
Like, there's been plenty that we've.
Oh, this is yeah.
The break week has actually been good for us.
It's been very productive.
Yeah, productive is a word for it, but I don't know if the.
Yeah, well.
I mean, we did.
As a nerd, and I think I can safely say that goes for anyone who works in esports.
Yeah.
It's productive. I call it productive. Sheo fishing for the gank here. Does not need to hear about Magic the Gathering, which is respectable. This is a League of Legends broadcast, and now finally a play is being set up on the bottom side. So the Herald not going to be used top side. It's crashing in the bottom lane, and I like that a lot more than using it in the top lane, as it is a huge goal injection. You highlighted it, Aphelios 7 creeps away from getting that one. The ulti now coming out, but he's not able to take the Olaf. Szygenda, fancy feet. Living for now, but Adam's just going to try and run him down. But you got to oh, no. Oh, wow. Anime battle right there.
That was so close. The fact that Adam just managed to flash away, Szygenda now wants to try and look for the knock up.
Oh, both these guys incredibly close. I thought for sure that Szygenda was dead, and then I thought for sure that Adam was going to die to that tower, but both sides walking away.
Still, the fair juice to Szygenda. The fact that you're in this matchup against Adam, who has been so oppressive on this Olaf in the past, it's a very good matchup for the Olaf, but you've been actually doing a great job of just keeping the game even, not actually giving Adam that much of an advantage, and especially when you had a bit of early pressure coming up from Sheo and the opportunity for Adam to freeze that wave and make things very uncomfortable. Szygenda's been doing a great job here, and as long as you're scaling towards the later portion of the game with the composition you have, we're in a great spot. Even having, like, I know it's only 500 gold, but at least a little bit of a sum of gold that's in your favor is going to work out well as BDS are trying to set up for that dragon in the midst time.
It's just Herald to the Drake, ultimately. That's the only real sizable difference here. I thought he was going to get the Stormrazor, but Crownie obviously going to pick up the Triforce. So both sides keeping it very close within touch. Just, we're really going to have to look at the execution in these fights. Nuke has turned into a lot less random objects so far this game, keeping it much more of a Neeko game than a cannon creep game or a melee minion game. Sheo spotted out there as he tries to clear out the control ward. Malrang now going to commit for a little bit of poke. Level advantage to the Gragas. Shouldn't matter too much in the fights to come, but Comp, great guns for setup here. Boy, do want to try to pull the trigger on the bottom side.
I think we need to allow Neeko to turn into Tibbers.
Yeah,
and then anything she's safe is the bear is just, oh, I'm just wandering back towards you, you know, and then it's just complete bedlam. But
could she turn into an allied Tibbers? Could you play Annie mid with a Neeko jungle?
I'd imagine she can. But I feel like most people would run away from the bear as well, so.
Yeah, the problem with banning this champion in every game I play is that I am sorely at a loss for the limitations of what she can and cannot turn into. But, hey, at least I don't have to play against her. That's the option. Do not like being scared every moment of my life in a game of League of Legends. This Szygenda, not very concerned, but the health bar is very deceiving as Olaf just immediately turns and tries to all in, but Szygenda looks like potentially winning out on this one. The dash forward and the first blood gets the job done.
But Szygenda can even TP into this fight as Koi started up this dragon as well. Don't forget, changing the TP timers means that he can get involved in this, and there it is, right in the middle of everyone.
Finish one. They've stolen away the objective though, and now they just need to retreat. Nuke now trying to make his way out of it, but he has been spotted. Flash back over the wall. Sheo waiting on the body slam. Does make it out, but BDS get the Drake. Topside, definitely rough, difficult now. Ravenous might make it a little bit easier, but Szygenda getting that solo kill is big, but ultimately because BDS steal the Drake, still feels like it shifts in their favor.
And even the big commit from Szygenda as well with that TP, he could have got plates on that top side. You can see the waves crash into that turret, but not able to do so. Koi though, still in a better position in that bot end. You have the guns for Comp, should be able to maybe tick over one more plate for himself before he resets, and he should be in a pretty good spot here as well. So, I mean, well, never mind. There's the TP. Comp's in a terrible spot.
Nuke now coming in. Pop Blossom, he's just waiting. The flash, not gonna take him out. That's crushing, but in comes the cleanse. Larssen now caught in the midst of the team. No! Oh, Larssen, what were you doing there? They thought they had the advantage. BDS punished.
I don't know if Koi should TP anywhere anymore. going real good when they kind of just take it easy and stick to the lanes. But unfortunately, a couple of these now come back to bite them. Larssen giving over that kill will stop Comp from getting that bot side turret, but still, you're absolutely massive here as Comp. The fact you've already got so many of these plates, you've actually managed to get a bit of a CS for yourself as well. Got him?
Got him. Oh, just gonna try and run him down, Comp. That's an Olaf, buddy. Milio's not there with warm hugs, but Adam is there with beer and axes. Shout out to Broloff.
I made the best combination, right? Beer and axes.
No,
Nothing can go wrong. Nothing can go wrong. What do you mean? But
cracky ice, baby.
Still though, Adam's now starting to pop off, right? Got the kill there off of the TP from Larssen and now managed to get the kill onto Comp. So even though we saw Szygenda doing such a good job, there seems to be no stopping this Olaf. Now got the Ravenous Hydra completed. Will give an opportunity for BDS now to get a good amount of pressure on towards these side lanes.
Yep.
Nuke as well, like he just has way more push than Larssen. So at any point in time, those two match up, it'll still be going in favor of the Neeko as well.
And because they have to send Szygenda to the bottom lane, Andy then has to leave mid lane, so just that extra bit of pressure because they are able to get that kill with Olaf on the bottom side does result in that tower. Still only 900 gold difference. Szygenda will even out a lot of this once he is able to break down this tier 1. More members coming down to the bottom side. Should happen momentarily. Adam, has he been caught out here? Adam, no ultimate, no flash, so should just go down. Second cast of the ultimate now coming in, but he just wants to turn and burn on Advienne. Can he get the kill back?
Oh my god!
Olaf! He's coming! He's got flash now! Oh, the smite coming through for the shutdown, but that's a bit embarrassing for the side of Koi.
Advienne going down, even had the flash but couldn't get away, and I mean, at least now Koi will get this bot lane turret, but you can see a lot of members actually of BDS starting to move down towards this bottom side. They want to try and push Malrang away.
And Gragas got the Herald in the meantime. Labrov still isolating. It looks like they could just drop the Herald mid if they want to and try to get the charge off. And just break open mid lane tier 1, which is huge in a game that has been this back and forth. Breaks open the map for them, gives them more access into the enemy jungle. It's a pretty big advantage for BDS.
And that's the thing for BDS. The regular split has been so damn good for them. They only lost to G2 last split in that regular split, and they've already got that loss out of the way. So now coming up against Koi, looks like they're in a really good spot, and they're punishing what Koi likes to do. Overload one side of the map, try and find these picks, and Adam gets the turnaround on that potential play. BDS now get the mid lane turret as well. Labrov, though, very much out of position.
Yeah, Szygenda should just be able to find a quick pick here on Labrov. Labrov flashing over the wall. So won't be able to finish the job, but at least get the flash out for the next fight alongside the heal. And right now, I mean, game's still very close, but it feels like BDS just keep winning out, and a lot of this has been on Adam. So despite getting solo killed by Szygenda, he just keeps turning plays in his favor. First, it's the nice little solo on the Comp in the bottom lane, and then it's finding the 1-for-1 in the jungle, and BDS have been doing a fantastic job, as you'd expect a team on Adam, with Adam on it to do, at leveraging the pressure that he's been creating to get these advantages, these towers, the mid lane and the top lane tier 1.
And I think that's where you're going to start to see if BDS can actually try and leverage that as you start to go, hey, look, 2 items before maybe a 4th dragon, right? Well, we're going to have the Black Cleaver complete on towards our Olaf on the top side. We'll have the Runaan's Hurricane completed. You won't quite have the Tiamat in time as well for Crownie, but you're still actually going to be fast approaching that. So for BDS, you're kind of hitting your stride as these keys objectives are coming up. You even have mid push now alongside bot that's about to come through for Nuke as this dragon's up and available. So Koi, you need to try and make a play, but you're coming in here relatively blind. Szygenda trying to get in position.
And the thing is, the Olaf's been frustrating, most certainly. Just a bit of miscalculation, it feels like, on the side of Koi, as well as good execution from Adam. But Crownie, we talked about how much money was being funneled into Comp, the first Herald, all those plates. But Crownie's 700 gold ahead. He's well on his way to that second item. He's only getting more powerful. Now he's got a Mikhail's in his back pocket as well, as Labrov is there to support him. And it feels like right now it's the stronger carry in this game, but we'll see if the execution from Koi can be better, it can balance out, make the difference. Larssen recalling now, will have the TP for the fight. But are they going to burn it? Are they even going to try to contest this one? It is Soul Point for BDS, and it's Infernal Soul nonetheless.
They have no vision. That was kind of what we were talking about. BDS, they got mid-prio, they immediately moved in and started to clear out all that vision that had been established for it. Like, yes, you got that ward just off the left there, but realistically, that's not going to spot out where Neeko is or what she's transformed into or whether you can trust a ward or a Scryer's Bloom anywhere into position. So for Koi, they decide to back away, and that's a massive advantage now for BDS as they're going to move into this bottom side and get that last remaining outer turret for themselves.
Easy pickup now. Koi, what is the counterpunch? What is the option here? BDS can just take this slow and steady 4.5 minutes, and Koi, if they don't have setup around that dragon, they will be forced to fight into BDS. So again, similar to previous game, with a Neeko in it, the game plan feels pretty clear. Now, it's not as in favor of BDS as it was in favor of G2 in the previous game, most certainly, Koi have a lot of time, and they're not in a massive gold deficit, but do need to give that respect over to the side of BDS because they are one dragon away from having an incredibly oppressive objective under their belt.
And this is as BDS, or sorry, it's Koi, where you need to try and find a moment to get a pick onto BDS, but you're just not really having the opportunity. You can see there they're kind of moving as this 3-man stack up towards this top side to clear out the vision that Koi had already put down. You maybe had an opportunity to try and wrap around to get someone, but you're not really getting much in that way. So for now, BDS once more, they start to group up, and this has been kind of the BDS classic, where it's like Adam will push sides, then start to act as like another kind of ward in river, start to move up in towards the rest of BDS, and as long as they're as this 4-man unit, well, this TP may not really get much.
TP behind. What's the angle? They can try to look for Sheo. Big damage on Szygenda. He's going to be forced to ult here. The body slam coming in. He's going to have to flash out safety to knock back in the wall. Neeko going to try to finish the job. Unstoppable, but very killable. BDS get one. Crownie has ulted. Looking to follow up now. BDS gonna have to just settle for a single pick. The slow not quite gonna connect. Malrang getting locked up. Nuke on the chase. Koi being forced to back away. Larssen waiting in the darkness, looking for an angle with the Tibbers, but Malrang blinking health bar. BDS full control over this pit. They're now just gonna look at the red buff.
And I like the idea from Koi. They had the TP advantage. They tried to jump onto BDS as Adam was separated, but now they're in a horrible spot. Koi need to try and contest this Baron, but it's gone. Malrang can't even get into position.
Advienne looking for something, maybe a cheeky angle to the pit. Malrang, the knockup now going to come through. That's the finish, and they're going to look for even more. Massive start. Olaf now running forward, but he's just running into the tower of Aphelios. Big damage now for the bomb. Adam going to get taken out. Have been thrown all the way in this fight, but it's Sheo right into the back line. Sheo trying to keep this one going. Milio taken out. BDS backing away with the Baron. Comp knows that he needs to keep fighting. Needs to find a way to keep this one going and try to take more of these Baron buffs away, but Koi will not get anything else in the exchange.
They can't. There's just no space for them in the fights. Comp is constantly trying to catch up to these fights, but Advienne gone. Not having that Shirley's Reverie or even the speed ups coming through from the shields, he just can't close the distance. BDS, they turn the play around and they manage to get the Baron.
Not getting a single kill in the end. Crushing. And for Koi, I mean, again, they're going to look back at that TP from Szygenda and you can say, hey, why did Szygenda go for the TP? But you can also say, hey, why was no one ready to follow up, to find that angle? Is that just credit to BDS immediately moving, preparing for any potential answer from Koi? Or Koi just not on the same page in that play at the end of the day, because that was a big throw, ultimately.
But this is the thing, it feels like when you're playing against BDS, they're so good at kind of teetering on the edge of what is pushing that bit too far forward to get the vision that they need to, so that then they can try and play for waves. And it was I respect the call from Koi. It's like, hey, look, we have the TP advantage. Get Szygenda in there. We can try and find ways to maybe get in behind Crownie, get the K'Sante ultimate onto him and turn this around. But now it's Sheo who's actually the one who's trying to get into comp.
On the flank, Cask there, but no flash. Ultra Shock Laser not quite going to connect. The healing, the movement speed coming in enough to keep comp safe. But now, a minute and 12 seconds till Infernal. They've got the Baron. It's going to last more than when the spawn time is up, and so they should just have full control of the bottom side of the river. Koi don't really have the tools to fight unless they can overload here, but Adam just going to be happy to have the tier 2. Koi maybe fishing for an angle to force a fight at a man advantage, but BDS not going to take the bait.
So though Koi have good position in mid, Adam's a while away, so they're going to see if they can try and push in here onto this mid lane, but Koi, they're going to get collapsed on.
And they're taking a ton of poke just to even try to contest. The Cozy Campfire going to heal up a bit, doesn't quite have the speed necessary to keep up with all of Koi, however.
And now you've already lost that wave on boss. BDS have push in mid. The wave will die fairly quickly, but you still get the reduction on the armor, so you should maybe be able to get it down, but not quite going to stick around for that time. Still though, Koi, they're just trying their damnedest to ram their head against the wall and see if it'll break open, but BDS, they won't bend at all.
Yeah, and I think ramming your head against the wall paints a pretty good picture here, sadly. For Koi, normally a team that's so composed and controlled, it was just really one or two hiccups yesterday, otherwise a pretty clean game. Now getting a little bit lost here in this one. BDS, all things working in their favor. Larssen getting cut out of the wall, not quite the follow-up damage, but now Koi think that they found the angle. Crownie immediately going to ult over Malrang. Now needs to run the knockback. It's massive from Sheo, and Comp goes down. Nuke now looking for the fall. He's at least going to take out one more. Larssen now on the retreat. BDS obliterating Koi in the blink of an eye.
BDS will not be stopped. That's going to be it. 23 minutes. They're cracking open the base and they can go for the end.
BDS, out of nowhere. Single misstep, it feels like, around that big objective, giving them the Baron. Again, finding the advantage, breaking open the base, now taking the Infernal as well. Everything coming out in their favor. It is golden. This is... I did not expect this after the first 10 or so minutes, and it's still a relatively not super bloody game. It's only 10 kills.
Yeah. But I think it's just the way BDS has been playing, it makes it impossible for Koi to really do anything. You can see there, Larssen gets caught out, and Koi are like in panic states. They see Larssen is already gone gold, and they're like, everyone in BDS is going to jump. Well, Malrang, I have to make a play on the opposite side. I have to try and get onto Crownie, but BDS, they don't actually take the bait. Instead, they wait out calmly. Look at Sheo, he has his ultimate available. He could one-shot Larssen, but instead he knows, look, that's something that, look, we've already got the gold and I'm not going to overcommit for this. Instead, he turns on towards the bigger fish, which is going to be Comp in that backline. Gets a fantastic ultimate, and the follow-up is there to finish him off, even with the flashing forward as well to finish that off. BDS knew exactly what the actual goal was and managed to pick off Koi as a result.
And I like the follow-up there. I like the turn. Obviously an incredibly clutch cask, but Nuke as well in that fight, zoning 2 members out of the fight. Larssen effectively useless in that entire exchange. And now Koi are at such a massive deficit that unless BDS really misstep, this is going to be a hard one to win because, yeah, Crownie has to be careful about walking up to that Olaf. Big boy.
Yeah, Adam's fairly happy, especially with the Jack Show and everything now. He's going to be fairly tanky and hard to deal with, as the rest of BDS are going to use that pressure that Adam's creating in mid to move up towards his top side. They have a good bit of vision control, but Koi, I mean, they're using the gates to try and get out. Or sorry, they're trying to walk out of base here. Look where Malrang is trying to maybe look for a flank, but they don't want to fully commit to this. So BDS will just get the tower and back away.
And Andy's not a control mage. Your wave clear against pressure like this is kind of crap. You got to burn the bear, you got to get a little bit too close to the wave for comfort. It's a difficult situation, certainly. Comp, of course, with the extra range on the Caliber maybe can be enough, but difficult stage to withstand, most certainly. And overcommitting into a fight could just cost you your life. Rude now going to come through, trying to fall off on a Malrang. Almost burst through the clone, but Malrang, luckily, quick on that W key, is able to leap out to safety.
Yeah, but sending a message. It's like, if it was the real you, look how low you would have been. Yeah. But
you'd be almost dead right now.
But I mean, look, realistically for Koi, you're kind of in a, I don't know, it's like this is the worst possible spot. It's Szygenda trying to see what he can do here. I don't know if you fully win that. At least we'll get the ultimate, but you've now got Baron that's up. Full control over that top side for BDS. You're walking in against the Neeko, and I mean, we're not seeing the same craziness, but yeah, that's what you kind of have to at this stage. They can wreck this Baron with the how big of an advantage Crownie has.
And I don't know if Nuke has used the passive once this game, but I don't think Neeko needs it.
No.
Look at the zone control. You walk up, you get rooted. You can't just walk forward in this champion when she's got ult up and available. The W out to safety. Baiting out the disengage cooldown. Adam now ghosting forward. Doesn't have the luxury of ultimate this time around, but Crownie does. Now stepping up, looking for that extra movement speed. Malrang into the backside, but he just doesn't really do any damage. But maybe with Larssen coming in, they can take down Crownie. And Comp is still standing, and that might just be enough. But BDS still 4 members strong, continue to move forward as jungler for AD trade. And you'd assume that that's in favor of Koi, but BDS are just so powerful.
Especially with Adam now starting to move forward. Wants to see if he can catch it again, but not going to be able to. That should put the last notch on towards that Baron play for BDS, though, as Koi Comp wants to see if he can get that auto attack. The ultimate is available now for Adam. And Comp does need to be careful if he tries to push forward, but at least Koi gets something. They do stop the Baron from BDS, as they just went that little bit too far here on Crownie. Like, initially, this is perfect from Nuke. You're playing around this choke point, it makes it very hard for Koi to enter, and you see the second even a threat of a potential Neeko coming through, everyone on Koi runs for the hills. But this is where Crownie just ends up going that bit too far forward, tries to support here, but as you start to come through, you end up having to Malrang come over the wall, knock up into Szygenda, knock back into the follow-up then from the Cassante ultimate as well, and there's just way too much damage for Crownie, even with how much health he has on this build to survive. So Koi get the pick and manage to stop any sort of follow-up.
It felt like a much more coordinated effort from Koi in that particular fight. Lifesteal now coming in for Comp is going to be big for the fights, but Titanic on the opposite side for Crownie does make things tricky. BDS, this is their second Baron. Again, ball is in their court. It's on Koi to just survive as long as they can. 1 minute till Elder. Maybe that's an angle of attack, stealing that away. Could be huge for the coming fights. But, I mean, you look at mid lane alone. 2K advantage for the Neeko. She's almost got a death cap. Larssen doesn't even have a component.
And it's very hard now for Koi to really even contest something like the Elder that's in 40 seconds because, well, BDS are just like, cool, if you ever try and go for the Elder, we end the game. We're just going to continue to push in with this Baron buff and make it nigh impossible for you to actually do anything. They've got brilliant presence here to actually take this mid lane tower before Koi are even really in a position to threaten. Should maybe go down with the last few autos from the cannon here.
cannon. It's gonna get him a Crownie. He sees Comp and just deletes him. That was not great positioning. That good play from Crownie to just step forward there, but Koi feeling overconfident to even try to contest in that instance. Infernal Zeri with this many items, a force to be reckoned with. And much less of a bang and much more of a whimper for Koi as they go out in this one. No opportunity to find that final fight as BDS are split, but it does not matter. Shooting fish in a barrel. Living up to their namesake on the side of Koi as BDS close this one out and find their first win in the Summer Split.
Really good stuff for BDS in that one. The fact, again, play nice and slow, play for Dragons, play for Adam on a side lane for a while, and then just never, ever overextend. Give the opportunity for Koi to find, you know, that TP play with Szygenda to get those picks. And when it came to team fights, BDS were the better squad.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, when you go back to the drawing board, it's always easy to pin it on one or two critical moments, and that just that TP, the moment that it was very clear that Koi were split or didn't respect the potential for BDS to disengage, the re-engage, to kill Szygenda to ultimately take that Baron, and that's the first time that it felt like BDS were in full control of that game, and from that moment on, they really didn't give much of anything up. A single pick on Crownie, really the only notable thing that Koi were able to do to kind of stop the inevitability of BDS in this late game.
Yeah, it felt like BDS just went back to what their basics were from spring and why we were so hyped on this team coming in, right? It was, we're going to just play it safe. We're going to have Sheo make sure that we can actually get to a point where the lanes are fine. Then when we get towards Dragons, that's going to be the win condition. We're going to look for these little picks beforehand, and it ended up all just coming together nicely. And again, great map control from them the whole way through.
And a very different look from Neeko.
Yeah.
You know, not about the passive at all, just about the normal parts of the kit. And I'm excited to see Nuke playing more champions. Yes, it is the highest prio next to LeBlanc with Static Shift champ on the patch, but still a good look for a guy who had what felt to be a pretty small champion pool in the previous season. Play the game at LEC on Twitter, Adam, Sheo, or Nuke. You can let us know who you think it was. Sheo, some pretty impressive casks. Adam, this man just eats pressure. Wakes up, breakfast, pressure. You know, lunch, pressure, dinner, pressure. 7-course, 5-star meal of pressure. This man...
The fact he gets solo killed and then was like, well, that's my signal to get 3 kills. Excuse you?
All right,
that's
not
how that
angry
works.
Now. The Graggy Ice is kicking in and I am pissed. Time to take over a game. I mean, you know, credit to him.
Yeah.
The Olaf is signature pick, you know, and I think it's as he grows as a player and as the champion has been changed a number of times, it becomes more and more threatening if you're not prepared for it. And I think whenever he can just pull it out of nowhere, teams aren't always ready for it. And I think that's part of what makes him such a big threat in the top lane.
Yeah, and again, I think it's also the fact that it's well set open in BDS to play around his champions and what he has available, right? Like we saw the Darius all of last bit. Even when we were looking in draft, it was like, wait a second, well, this Olaf can go jungle. We can send the Gragas here. We can do all the shifting of the champions that we need to. So really cool stuff, and I love to see that from BDS.
I like to see it too, but now it's time to hear from the man in the top lane himself. Georgia standing by with Adam.
Thank you very much, guys. Adam, thank you so much for joining me on the interview. Congratulations on the win as well. Have I got a treat for you guys? Adam, on Olaf. I've got some clips to play. Can you please run me through them? Because the early game was very slow, but you were really fun to watch. That was when you were down in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean...
While Danny appears.
Yeah, I mean, like, we had TP advantage, and Comp was, like, kind of gridding the turret. And we used Nuke TP, and it was, like, kind of good in the end. Here, he got a gridded base. I went through, like, all the bushes, and he didn't expect it. It was good. Here, I guess I wasn't sure if Milio didn't have flash or no, so I kind of hesitated to turn. But in the end, I was like, anyways, I'm dead, so I'll just, like, try the best. It worked out. I got a bit kind of lucky here, but I guess I take it. I'm kind of still a bit disappointed. Like my laning phase, I got solo kill. Usually it doesn't happen to me. I solo kill people don't solo kill me, but just a misplay from me.
You know what? You were playing a Season 1 champ. Yeah. He was playing a Season 13 champ.
That's
it wasn't fair from the get-go. But literally, you kept the early game alive. You had 3 kills when you guys came out of the laning phase. Absolutely smurfing on the Olaf. Now, on the champion side, you guys also had a Neeko first pick. Please tell me, how much fun does Nuke have playing it versus how much he seriously plays the game? Because we saw the caps angle as well.
All right. Before we pick Neeko, we told Nuke, all right, just don't be caps. And I think like he should be fine. But I think Neeko is just a really strong champ overall. It brings a lot of fun to the game, especially for the guy who plays it. It's kind of like a new dynamic that you need to get used to. I think we got used to it as a team, and we're pretty happy to play her.
Yeah, it looked really good in your hands, guys. And of course, yesterday you guys have a really difficult start versus G2. But as I talked to Striker, apparently your losses are what make you stronger because you guys work really hard and learn from your mistakes. What was something that you learned yesterday that you implemented today on stage?
Well, we have a tendency, you know, in our team, like the starts are really slow usually. So we just like made sure we could do all the mistakes possible against G2 so that...
Get them out the way?
Exactly, like it works kind of like a reality check. Like, okay, but we're not like, you know, superior or anything. So it was kind of a reality check, and now that we got the win today, it's kind of like back to the track, and we can just keep going.
All right, serious face on for BDS. Adam, thank you very much for joining me. Congratulations again. Over to post-match with Ender.
Thank you very much, Trouble. And it's not just me, it's also Rekkles and Sheo here. First of all, just congrats on the win. Very, very strong showing from you and the team. And just to sort of like immediately get into the game, I was like literally just laughing watching the early game because you of course went for like the early invade up in Malrang's face, then Malrang sort of running on your side of the map, and with all of your like tracking and trying to follow his repeat ganks around mid lane, it just seemed like so much time was spent sort of mirroring him that at one point you were level 3 when Adam was hitting level 6. So talk to me about what it's like sort of facing off against Malrang and your own personal style, because I do feel like a lot of the times you are always showing up to where the enemy jungler wants to hit.
I mean, Malrang is a really proactive jungle. He likes to impact lanes, especially like Larssen lanes. So my goal was to match him, so make sure that my laners can play their lane as well. So first we went for the invade because we have Neeko, Olaf, Gragas, and they have Wukong, so we are really strong level 1. But then he went back for the red buff and won the smite, so he was like beating me. But then at the end it doesn't really matter, I will just match him. My champ is kinda better than Wukong in early game. So my job was just to match Wukong, I would say.
Yeah, and then how much are you thinking about, because after, you know, you both like sort of get the first reset off and you're down a couple levels, do you feel like it's harder to find a moment there until you hit level 6? Or are you trying to more look for farm as opposed to like initiate plays yourself?
I mean, with Gragas you can always like E-flash, even without your ults, so if there was a window I could take it, but I didn't find one, so we just played for Drake. And on my 6, we looked on bot. I think it was a decent look.
Yeah, and I would say it was kind of beneficial for you as the Gragas versus the Wukong to have the lower levels, the lower farm, because whenever I see Wukong or play against Wukong or have it in my team, I feel like he's playing for the Divine Sunderer, and before that he doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
As the Gragas, you're good to go with just a pair of boots, really. So it just felt like it was really beneficial for you that the game kind of slowed down, and that sort of also is the BDS style, or has been the BDS style for a while now. So talk to us a little bit about the Drakes and everything in the early game. How do you guys set that up?
I mean, you said everything almost, like Wukong is really slow in early game. So with Gragas you can do almost whatever you want. And they can't really contest Drake, I would say, because we have Neeko, Gragas that can one-shot anyone. And on the second Drake, I think they misplayed their engage. So we got the second Drake as well. And then I think they can't really contest 5v5. And we just play the game around Drakes at this point.
Yeah, it was classic BDS fashion. You just get every single dragon. I also think like Crownie, it's just so funny watching like bot lane be perfectly even, or actually he was down in gold because the enemy gave Herald down to bot side. But then between 10 and 20 minutes, he just goes up 40 CS. All of a sudden he's up like 500-600 gold. So definitely putting the resources in the right place. And that takes us to some of the big fights, because I think the game really, it felt close because there weren't like a lot of kills, you know, turrets were traded. But then Szygenda goes for this Baron teleport. It goes horribly wrong. So as you're spotting this out, how do you just sort of turn on him and make it simple? Because the rest of the team was really far behind.
I mean, we were looking for a TP behind us, and then we saw Szygenda TP'd, but his teammates were like so behind him that we can just turn on him, and either he's too low HP to contest or fight, or we kill him, and here we killed him. So at the end, they use the TP and dies. So after this, I think the game is won. Even if the game was really slow, I think we were pretty confident to win it.
It feels like such Zeri territory as well. When you get that member, you can kind of just hit for free. So you either stacked ult, in this case it didn't, but you can get the lethal tempo stacks. You can kind of put yourself in a position where even if Aphelios starts contesting you, you're too strong already. So in my mind, Szygenda kind of goes way too soon there, and they need to be more aligned in the engage, because otherwise, Zeri is going to be too strong. And it also feels like whenever you guys fight, you're always really good at kind of keeping the fight together. There's no one like running away and doing their own adventures. You're kind of always together as a group. So in this case, it's just, it's too big of a mistake.
Yeah, and it brings us to the fight that effectively ends the game, where you have a gorgeous cask. It was really, really nice, just straight up in mid lane, and you catch about 2 people. So walk us through this fight, because it starts out almost getting this catch here onto Larssen.
I mean, I almost went for the Annie, but since we had no vision, I didn't E in. And then we knew that Aphelios has no flash for a while, so I just E and ult twice, and then they are dead. But yeah, I think they went too deep in the mid lane, and we just catch the Inter, I would say.
It's kind of a, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of a new look for BDS to see you on a carry and nuke on something like Neeko. I think yesterday played the Annie, if I'm not mistaken,
Annie,
as well. So it's kind of a new look for you guys. How does it feel to play this style?
I mean, I'm not sure if Gragas is a real carry, right? Compared to like Kindred and stuff like this.
Yesterday at the Diego game,
but yes, Gragas is like really fun to play, and like we are trying with Nuke to play like more setup mid laners, and I do like more the carry style, and I think we can do great with this style as well.
And how does it feel so far? Is it something you're comfortable with, carrying in the jungle?
Oh, I mean,
because if I remember back to last year, you were carrying a lot of games in the LFL.
I mean, in the LFL, I was like spamming listening Xingzhou.
Yeah.
And then in this meta, it's not really listening Xingzhou meta, but I think I can like play any meta and play anything is good for the team, I would say.
Maybe some Neeko jungle on the horizon.
Maybe some flex.
Yeah, I want to see some practice on that. You promised me carry jungles. I definitely want to see it. Well, thank you so much, Sheo, for joining us. Congrats again on the win. We have one more game left today. Astralis facing off against Team Heretics right after the break. So don't go anywhere.
Nuke now coming in. Pop Blossom, he's just waiting. The flash, not gonna take him out. That's crushing, but in comes the cleanse. Larssen now caught in the midst of the team. No! Got him. Oh, just gonna try and run him down. Kong. That's an Olaf, buddy.
Look at Annie. Can even dive. Look at them. Look at them. Annie's pro is one. Guys, look at them. Look. This fight. Fais a flash. I'm looking. The W Wukong. We finish Wukong. Nice, we can end middle. It's fine.